Hello, dear fellow investors, and you are investors, current or future. If you if you're looking at this presentation, I'm welcoming you to our exciting journey to real estate world, Boston real estate world specifically, which we are fluent in. We had a live presentation a couple days ago, and we didn't record it. And after that, I had a lot of requests, so we're recording it offline for you guys to hear at your convenience. And we welcome your questions. You know how to find me. I'm there to help. So let's begin. So we are who we are. We are two companies together: Sunrise Real Estate Investment Management and Ligi Construction. Sunrise Real Estate Management, this is my company. We are two companies working together. So my company specializes in real estate development, in real estate property and Airbnb management. We also brokerage, which specialize in investment properties. And I specialize in short-term investment programs. We welcome investors to invest in our development with a very competitive interest. Ligi Construction Company, this is my partner, El Ligi, who is also a building official. He's a commissioner of local town in Winthrop. He's my fellow real estate development partner. He's also a suburb builder. He's been building all his life since he's been 13. He's an outstanding general contractor. He has lots of knowledge in the permitting, code compliance, and all types of inspections. So he pretty much knows everything about building that you can think of. Our story: I was in high tech for 20 years. I was a software developer until I had a strong urge to build a house. They say every man have to build a house. I didn't probably hear well. I sometimes don't hear well if I don't want to. So I really started building by myself. I've been building for like 3-4 years myself, mostly on a trial and error, slowly progressing. I did one multifamily, 3-family in Somerville. This was my first. Some single families, condos, and then I bumped into El. We both had a huge passion in urban development, in New England style architecture. So we started our development in East Boston. By now, we did 6 projects in East Boston. And since then, we continue, and our company grew a lot. El been commissioner for a very long time. Before that, he was a building inspector in Chelsea. He's a generation of commissioners. His old man was commissioner of Somerville, and very politically, very big, very powerful figure, very politically connected at the time. And El went on his steps. So let's move to the passive income. This is one of the big plus of a real estate investment. So I'm basing on a famous quote of billionaire investor Warren Buffett that if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. So what is passive income? Passive income is making money and income without having to work on it. So basically not selling your time for money. And despite that it sounds so good, searching for passive income opportunities isn't the norm for most people. So if you would want more money, people would suggest, oh, get a side kick, get another job. But it's not, part-time job is not always an option. There is just so many hours in a day that we can spend working. And there is so much energy we can dedicate to work. We want some life too, right? So the solution is stop trading time for money and create passive income. So it does require some work to set up in beginning, and over time income comes naturally, and you just need to tweak it here and there. So even if you have a best job in the world and your salary is suburb, learning to create passive income will bring you more security and more freedom. And of course, additional means to retirement and retirement besides 401k. And another opportunity that created recently with not so good cause of COVID, that the market very much grew, and many of us have an equity in our houses, which could be very, very nicely utilized in the passive income. So let me start quickly about our short-term real estate investment program, because this is the easiest and requires the least work from you guys. And I know some of them here for that. And then we're going to move to the investment properties. So our programs are starting from 1 year long. The interest could be paid at the end of the year, or could be compound annually. We give very competitive interest, 15% interest yearly, to account for the inflation that's currently happening. So our investors became partners with us in LLC, with difference that they don't have any liability. So there's no mortgages on them or anything like that. So, but they are co-owners, or private note if that's more comfortable for people. So, and the money of the investment is secured on their specific project or property. Let me just show you a quick example so you see the numbers. So let's say you have your house grew and you have 200K equity that's available for investing. And this is what I personally did. My house grew and I pulled out, I invested it in my business. But this is the example, what's going to happen to you as investors. So let's say you have 200K, you invest for 1 year. With a 15% yearly interest, you get 30,000 at the end of the year. You're going to be taxed on 50% interest as a long-term capital gain, which is going to be 4,500, and you will pay your equity line and roughly 3% for the year, 6,000. So after tax, your income going to be 19,500, which is a nice 2 couple family vacations a year. Now let's look on a scenario. If you invest for 5 years and you don't pull every year and your interest compound over the 5 years. So 15% compound interest for 5 years is 402,000. So your basically money are doubled in 5 years. Now 15% tax, it's going to be 30,000, and your equity line for 5 years is going to be another 30,000. So your tax-free income after 5 years is going to be 142,000, which is wonderful amount to do whatever you like. It's a great amount to have. So now if you have only 100K for investment, so here is the same calculations. You're going to get 9,750 income tax after tax income. This is nice. 1 family vacation, and compound after 5 years is almost 71,000, which again is a very good amount. So now let's talk about investing in Boston real estate market as another opportunity for you guys. So we are in a very, very outstanding environment here. So Boston is one of the best real estate investment cities. So the prices in Boston area historically going only one direction, up. And this is also because we have an ocean in one side of us. So there is really not much direction to expand. So the real strength of Boston housing market shows up in a downside risk. So there is not much. So if another recession hits magnitude of economic downturn of 2007, S&P predicts home prices in Boston area will still actually go up. Boston is one of the most stable markets in the country and has broad scope of industries that are able to withstand economic events much better than any other markets. And mix in a growing population of young professionals who are entering prime home buying age and a flock of universities and medical institutions that are large employers and aren't likely going anywhere, and the Boston housing market is set in a good direction. So multifamily market is very stable in Boston. While we know that the prices went up and potentially in the bubble in the suburbs, Boston multifamily market is actually going slowly. It wasn't impacted by this boom of COVID. It just made a natural progression as in the previous years. Millennials still prefer Boston central areas because this is where all the companies are. And despite a lot of ideas that the company goes remote, a lot of enterprises and startup and innovation and the thing that the Boston are famous for are still working in person, because the best working environment is still happening in Boston. So the young people still going to be in the urban areas. And tourism supports Airbnb industry very well. Actually, as a matter of fact, when the COVID started, I have 9 Airbnbs in the city, and they haven't been empty for one moment. So yes, tourism stopped, but internal tourism started, and people were migrating. I also attended a real estate conference right in the middle of pandemic. And it was still, so it was a flow of people to Boston. So it was a lot of migration from Seattle, from California. So Boston is still a hub, and still have a lot of migration of new workforce that coming up. So let's talk about COVID a little bit more. Our hot subject right now. So unlike other industries, a pandemic did not bring real estate market to halt in Boston. So many people started house hunting, and that's because during pandemic, a lot of people realized they need more space, they need to be close to family, they need downsize and upsize, and they want to fulfill their dream, and it's a time. In Boston housing market, it's the second most recovered out of 50 largest metro areas in the country. A number of active shoppers remain high and growing, and the real estate market in Boston is extremely competitive because there is not enough homes. A response to the pandemic in Boston was pretty well in general, and Airbnb industry becomes stronger as a renter performs short-term commitment. There is going to be a lot of tendency in the future that people will migrate and will not want to commit to long-term. People in the working forms, young people, there is a lot of tendency now, and actually storage started to grow up because people are putting their things into storage and migrating in the different parts of the country in the search of their career, jobs, travel nurses, a lot of travel professionals. And the Feds have a plans to raise rates this year about 4 times. So the sooner we act, the better to catch a good rates, which is, if you're thinking about pulling equity line, it's a good time to do that because rates gonna raise. And even if you don't do anything with the equity line at this moment, it's better to pull it now. Now, in general, what's good about real estate? So there are lots of different ways to invest your money. There are stocks, there is crypto, and I am a big believer in real estate because I like brick and mortar, as I like to build the houses, as I mentioned previously. But so let me talk you. I don't know to say you much about stocks, bonds, and crypto. And I know there are other people to tell you about that, but I will be concentrated on real estate. It's a very reliable investment, and standing there, it doesn't go anywhere. And there is a very slightly to none chances that it's ever going down. And it usually appreciates nicely over time. You get monthly cash flow, your loan get paid down by your renters or Airbnbers. You get market appreciations, you get to own something. It's a very nice feeling. You have a short-term investment possibility to get very nice income in specific areas. You get retirement income, and you get inheritance value. So you have something to leave for your children or grandchildren, and you have a good tax benefits. So there is a very famous organization, Bigger Pockets, who advocate for real estate investment. So they invented this BRRRR strategy, which is a pillar of the real estate investment, really. So it's basically buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. So the flow is you buy your first investment property, you improve it, maybe add more unit, maybe split, maybe just rehab, rent it better. At this point, it became better investment property. So when you come to refinance, you can pull some equity out of it. Sorry about my dog, it's going crazy. You pull some equity out of it, and you repeat, you buy next investment property. So approximate circle takes, I would say, about 4 years, unless you get creative and you're successful to, and we can help you with that, to buy 3 family but legal 2, increase it to 3, and this way you grow the value. And this is one of the things we are doing. So I can show you examples of my previous projects, my investment projects. So this is my first building, which I bought in 2009 with money of my dad, retirement money, who transferred it to me and said, do something. And since I didn't know much about stocks, that's the only way it was for me to invest at the time. I was renting it for 7 years and I sold it in 2016. So you could see the numbers. And this is the very standard numbers for us, for Boston here. So the purchase price was $740. This was the monthly rent. I had some cash flow there. I sold it for 1.1. I made a profit for 385,000. We were 3 partners. We got cash flow of 2,000 a month while we were holding it. And while right before selling, I actually pulled equity line of 150K to buy another property in Chelsea, which I show you in a moment. So this is the building I purchased, 3 family in 2017. So at the time when Brighton was already $1 million plus for 2 families, Chelsea was still available for 630. I had a down payment of 158 in 2017. My monthly rent was actually very low. I never increased it too much, just was comfortable with people. There was a families who paid nicely, lived there for 10 years. So I was bidding more on appreciation than a monthly flow for that building. So I did have some monthly cash flow of 1,400. I could have more, but I just made a decision to leave those tenants alone, which I nicely actually were paying during the COVID. So now when I am inquiring, basically 4 years later, the market value is already 900. So it grew to 170K during the time, which gave me again opportunity to pull equity line and purchase the second half of the building, which is luckily owner going to retire, and he offered me to purchase his building. So we're working on this purchase right now. So 4 years after, I have enough money to purchase next investment property, and now both of them gonna be growing simultaneously. So let's talk about another my very, very favorite topic. So let's say you purchase your 2-3 family, and you can rent it with small cash flow. You will still have a cash flow, but cash flows are not tremendous in Boston because of our high prices of the buildings. But you can utilize short-term rentals in the city areas. So let me show you. This is one of the condos that we renovated. Got renovated. This is a 3rd floor of a condo building. The 2 other units were sold, and it came out on the market late October, November. There was not much market for it, so instead of giving it to cheap, I thought, you know what, I'll just take it myself. So the purchase price was $475. The monthly mortgage with tax and insurance is $2,000. So my monthly rent for Airbnb varies from, it's actually more updated, from $2,500 in the winter months to $5,500 or $6,000 in summer, fall, and spring months. So it's a very, very nice income on a condos. So what is the ways to grow property value? So let's say you purchase your 2-3 family. You can do rehab, and this way increase the value. You can add more units, and that's the situation. There are lots of buildings which are already 3 family, but they registered only as 2. Or you have 2 big units which could be split. We had one building, actually, we bought 3 very big, 3 family with a very big units, and we managed to split it to 6. That's very outstanding opportunity. But to do 2 to 3 is a very, very real, or sometimes even 2 to 4. It's a very real scenario. You can rent by room. You can use short-term rentals. You can do rooming house, bed and breakfast. You can add parking. A lot of properties in Boston who doesn't have parking actually have a space in front, which you can dig in, especially if they're in a hill. You could dig in and have a couple parking spaces. And this is a huge increase for the value of the property. Now, let's talk about areas which are my favorite areas. This is where we operate because they're still feasible. You can still find investment properties within like 800s. You can see blue line coming through is Boston and side of Winthrop and Revere. You could see it's coming through some of the Everett and Malden. So that's the areas we specialize in, and we believe in them very much due to transportation, due to close proximity to Boston, downtown, airport, definitely. And also because there is a lot of development going on. And let's see what's happening in the area. First of all, FBI building came in Chelsea a couple of years ago. Chelsea have 8 hotels by now, and they had literally none 5 years ago. Casino was built in Everett, Suffolk down, going up now in Revere. It's gonna have a huge building development. Revere beachfront properties are popping out like mushrooms after rain. Winthrop Business Center is being developed right now, making Winthrop is very attractive development opportunity. Malden Center residential business development is happening right now. And East Boston, of course, condo development is picking up. It's going to be very much South Boston very soon. So how can you fund investment property? So as I already mentioned, equity line is an excellent opportunity. Some of you have savings, which is laying down with a low interest. You can buy as owner occupant with a low down payment and rent other units. You can buy a secondary residence with a low down payment. You can partner with other investors. This is what I was doing for a while. 2-3 people coming together, putting their down payment together, and I'm running everything, of course. You can borrow from parents' retirement fund. This is also what I was doing in the beginning. And you can take private loan from friends and family and wait until your equity grow and return it this way. So for the short-term rentals, my favorite rentals, because they bring so amazing income in our area. Travel nurses are coming, flocking, lots of requests. I'm getting travel professionals, people who are relocating, students, professionals, international students, a lot renting from me, very nice groups. Professional who prefers no commitment in housing, flight attendants, of course, we have one of the biggest airports. People who sold their properties and in search for new ones, and divorced and separated people. So to set up short-term rentals, what do you need? You will have to pay monthly utilities. It involves some initial cleanup. You get the furniture, and there are ways of buying very cheaply. Wayfair, something used, Amazon. Now you can decorate and set up unit within 2,000-3,000 a unit really. You have supply of some. I usually provide wine and sweets and coffee. There is a cleaning crew, which I will help you if you're doing one. I'll share mine. So you sign up for marketing sites. Airbnb, Vrbo, furnished rentals is a big one for nurses. Facebook Marketplace, and if you need property management, I will help you. Even though I think you will be able to capable to do it, and I'll really help you with that to set it up. So what the price is, why short-term rentals are so good. So currently monthly rentals in Boston's are between 2,500 to 2,700 for 1-2 bedrooms, and 3 bedrooms is between 3,000 and 3,400. Airbnb in summer months guys give 5,000 or more. In the fall months, 3,500 to 4,000. The winter months I usually rent monthly for like 2,500 or 3,000, depending on the size. And the biggest advantage of short term that they always pay, and there is no eviction involved, which is hitting some areas of Boston now very hardly. So why work with us? And many people called me after and said, okay, so I didn't understand what you offer. So what do we offer? So first of all, we are brokerage, specializing in real estate investment. So we will help you to find the right property. We have a huge personal experience. We are own, each of us, me and El and Mila, who's gonna speak after. We have numerous investment properties. We went through years of experience on that. I've been buying multifamily properties for me or my friends and my clients for past 7 years. We do home inspection on the spot because El, my partner, is been a home inspector all his life. So basically, you can still call official inspection after, but he will step in, you know, an open house or later on and just give you a quickly rundown of the bones of the house, how good is the house, you know, what's the condition of it, which is most important. And you know, it's very important because all the old houses, sometimes you see the slope, you see and it seems scary, but sometimes not. But sometimes you just need to push a little bit from the basement on a support column, or sometimes house just settled, it doesn't go anywhere, so the slope is really not a big deal. Or sometimes it is a big deal and your walls is rotten and you really have to see that. And so instead of going through the process of giving you offer house inspection, El gonna be able to come and right away tell you what's the condition of the house. Also, we have a direct contact with local city officials by him being a commissioner. So he will give a quick call and know the history of the property. If there are any liens, any taxes, anything wrong, any God forbid history, but history of the house, so you know to step away. Or you know that the house is really clean and good for you. Now, if you need any permitting after or Board of Appeals to add more units, he will be able to assist. And first of all, he will be able to tell you if that's possible. And second of all, he will be able to assist after. He will be able to estimate on the spot renovation costs, what you need to do, what can wait. And also we can help with Airbnb rentals, approvals, registrations and setup, and future property management if you need so. At this point, and obviously also what we can help you is with the short-term rental investment. So, sorry, short-term investment programs. So basically, if you don't want to engage in building your house and you have your equity line or cash laying around, we are happy to have your investment with 15% interest. And we are very reliable. We have a lot of investors working with us. We had returned multiple times. We did lots of rounds in the past 7 years. And now I'm happy to give you references to the local people in Boston that you probably know. So now I'll have El say a couple of words. I hope he's available.
Hey everybody, how are you? So well, just to size up, you know, the construction end of the company, along with the consulting part of the company, we do a lot of consulting for permits. We help people obtain building permits. We show you how to increase units. Sometimes in some cities, there's special zoning that allow you to go from a 1 to a 2, a 2 to a 3, depending on the chapter. You know, 40A is one of the ones that allow you to do that on a state level. That if the property's been taxed as a multi for 10 years and no violation was written from any department of the town or city, then a lot of times you can convert that 1 family to a 2 family by right, not have to worry about parking. You know, obviously code compliance, hardwired smoke detectors, egress windows if it's a lower unit on grade, you know, ceiling heights, and you know, anything that needs to be brought up to code, as far as the building code goes, and also the fire code, life safety code. And that's what we do, you know. So we help a lot of people. We're able to get through a lot of the red tape because we know how to apply for building permits a lot quicker than the average person does. And by doing that, we can cut very, you know, I mean, you go to Boston, it can take you 6 months to a year to get a permit. And that's just on minor permits, never mind anything major. So we've, you know, over the years of our experience and connections, we've been able to get through that red tape again very quickly. And you know, we can do project management. We can run a whole project. We can build houses from properties from the ground up, multi-singles, multi-unit buildings. We've done tons and tons of build outs, interior and exterior. We've even done commercial fit outs. So that's pretty much this part of the company. You know, and both companies kind of work simultaneously together very well, and that's why we're successful today. And that's pretty much it. I'll turn you back to Ella. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And now I have my dear friend Mila, who is a fellow investor, who we actually were going side by side until I took my turn and started to do it professionally. Mila was invested in beginning in parallel. Now we got new property to her recently with the work. She's also my our short real estate investor too with her funds. So I'll let her speak for her experience.
Yes, hi everyone. Thank you all for inviting me to this call. So yeah, I want to kind of, explain my journey, my real estate journey, which I'm obviously not like Ella doing it full time. I'm doing it very much part-time. I have a very demanding full-time job. My husband has a very demanding full-time job. We started investing in real estate about 10 years ago, even more than that, and we bought our first house in 2008. So at that time we had partners, so we bought two houses, one 3-family house, another 4-family house. It was a lot of work, but again, it was 4 of us. Then something happened and we parted ways with our partners. And then we sold one house and kept one 3-family house. At the time, we also had 2 other apartments we bought, which we also managed. So basically we had 5 apartments we've been managing for quite some time. Throughout this experience, it is a lot of work, but it's very manageable for somebody who has, again, like I said, full-time job. It's a very manageable thing to do, and it's a really good income. And again, you can always find very good, properties out there which can really work for you and give you a very good income. So a few kind of things why we're being successful as landlords, I would say. So you have to be very responsive to your tenants. I mean, a lot of our tenants stay with us for years, and they say we're the best landlords because we're very responsive. So they don't give us problems, right? Like they really want to help us. I mean, when we help them, they help us. So they pay on time. They're being very respectful to us. So again, you do need to be very respectful to your tenants. And again, tenants in Massachusetts laws can be quite harsh on landlords. So you do want to have really good relationships with your tenants. Things which we really, what you need when you are a landlord, you need a good plumber. You don't really need an electrician at all times. I mean, I think I used electrician maybe 5 times in my over 10 years experience as a landlord. But you do need a plumber, and you do need a very reliable plumber because things happen all the time, and heat breaks and pipes break. And we just had a pipe broke up just a couple of days ago. I mean, flooded the whole entire basement, right? So like you need somebody to be there right away. And usually things happen during Saturdays, Sundays when you're away, and you do need to take care of it because things like heat, if the heat is broken, you need to fix it, because if you don't fix it, tenants can actually sue you and they will win. So again, this is very important. Having a plumber is super important. So then, after having 5 apartments, I was kind of, I was on the hesitant side. Do I want more? Do I not want more? My husband didn't really want more. But then, I was talking to Alla, and she did convince me that, I invest in stocks, but really only my 401k. So I'm not very comfortable investing money into stocks. So again, and I do want to continue. I mean, I like being a landlord and I like having real estate. So, I started talking to Ella, and she did convince me to potentially buy another house. So we started looking. This happened before pandemic in 2019. I think we started in December, if I'm not mistaken. And we really saw only one house, and we put an offer and it didn't get accepted because it was like, I think 5 or 7, I don't even know how many offers over asking price. And then Ella found another property really on the same street, on the street we really liked. It was actually Revere, and all of our previous properties were in Brighton. So I was very hesitant about going outside of Brighton because it's my comfort zone. And Ella told me a lot about Revere. And I started falling in love with Revere. It has a really nice vibe to it. And we found this property near Beachmont Station, so it's really close to the beach. Revere is developing quite nicely. It's a really beautiful town. So we found the property. Again, it was in the beginning of pandemic. So when we put an offer on it, and it was actually off-market property, thanks to L&L, through their connections, we did find an off-market property. So we put an offer got accepted, but then pandemic hit. So we had to close. We had a lot of, problems in the middle because everything was closing. The city was closing. Inspections were very difficult to do. And again, thanks to L&L, and specifically to L, we were able to get it done, and we were able to buy the house. So this is a 2-family house, which has a really nice potential because it has 2 really large apartments, 5-bedroom apartment and another 5-bedroom apartment. So we're renting 1 5-bedroom apartment, and the other 5-bedroom apartment we divided into a 3-bedroom apartment plus an Airbnb. So I went through a really nice experience, again, thanks to Ella, because she helped me throughout every step of the way. I created this little tiny 1-bedroom apartment as an Airbnb. And since then, I'm using it as an Airbnb. It's a great property. It's really easy to do. I do have long-term, renters who live there, but again, it's an easy process to do. And now we are actually in talks of maybe converting that into a 3-family house. So again, Alice helping me with that. So I think, again, for anyone who wants to invest money into something, real estate in Boston, like Ella said, Boston is not going to go down. I mean, we've been investing for 10 years. Houses we bought went up in price by quite a lot. And I think it will continue this way. In some areas, like Ella mentioned, Revere, Winthrop, East Boston, they're still developing. They're still not costing you, $2 million for a 3-family house. It's still under $1 million, but it will develop and it will grow. So I think that's a great investment. Just recently, and again, I was, for some time, I was on the fence if I want to invest into just, like when Ella is asking for investors for her projects. So I was on the fence in the beginning, but then I decided I need to do that because a lot of people I know have invested before and got, quite nice, percentages back. So I did that, and my parents did that as well. So we have, we have now invested quite a bit of money into this project, and again, hopefully we'll, we'll definitely get something back, and I'm sure we will. Yeah, exactly. I'm sure we will, and I'll continue doing so because I think it's another great investment. And again, something which you're not really doing much for, but again, why not to make your money work for you? And the way we did it, we took equity line. So we took equity line out of our properties. It's easiest, I think, from my experience, it's the easiest to take equity line out of my own house, not out of investment properties, but more out of your own house. At least this is how I feel like. I mean, when we talk to banks, that was the easiest way to do it, but it's also possible to do it out of investment properties as well. So if you have any questions, again, I'm available. Ella can give you my contact information. Another thing I'll say about, being a landlord, renting apartments. I rent apartments by myself, as well as I'm using real estate agents. I do like to be in control because sometimes real estate agents don't do the job. So I do use Facebook quite a bit, and Facebook has been extremely helpful. Before I used to use Craigslist, but Facebook, I think, works much better. At least right now it works much better. I mean, you can rent anything on Facebook. You can rent parking spots on Facebook. You can obviously rent apartments, sell stuff. So Facebook is really a huge help. But I do also put all of my properties to real estate agents as well, because they have been helpful as well in the previous years. So definitely, leverage anyone you could. Start early. Again, start asking your tenants what their plans are as early as possible. Sometimes they don't know until the last minute. But again, start kind of planning in advance, because, you know, it might get stressful when it gets to September and you still don't have anyone. So yeah, so those are kind of the hint. I mean, kind of like few of the, you know, few of the little hints of a landlord. But again, if you guys have any questions, you can always reach out. And thank you.
Thank you, Milishka. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm happy you're on this journey with me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
no, it's
And
an
thank you.
exciting journey, and I think it's a really good, again, as an investment, it's a good investment, and it's a safe investment.
Yeah, and the thing is, we both of us, when we were starting, Mil is 2006 and 2007, we had nobody. We actually haven't even met at the time. So we haven't had anybody to help us. So now you have us, you have me and Elle. So we will gonna walk you through it. The big thing in all of the story is to have the knowledge is everything. And now there is abundance of this knowledge between all of us. So yes, there will be bumps like in anything, but at least you will have a solution and you will have advisory ready for you right there. So it's going to be much, much smoother than our journey in the past. So you're going to be even more successful. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you for attending, and please reach out with any questions.